Welcome to another heinous true crime story. Please be advised, this story may contain graphic descriptions of unsettling subjects. Bela Kiss, born in 1877 in Hungary, would grow to become one of the most notorious serial killers in European history. His reign of terror, centered in the small town of Cinkota near Budapest, went undetected for years until a grisly discovery in 1916 revealed the true extent of his depravity. Kiss was known to his neighbors as a quiet, respectable tinsmith. He lived alone in a house he had inherited, and his solitary nature raised few suspicions among the townspeople. However, behind this facade of normalcy, Kiss harbored dark, murderous impulses that would lead him to commit a series of brutal killings. The killer's M.O. was both calculated and chilling. Kiss would place personal advertisements in newspapers, presenting himself as a lonely widower seeking companionship or marriage. This method proved tragically effective in luring vulnerable women into his deadly trap. Once he had gained their trust, Kiss would invite his victims to his home in Cinkota, where he would carry out his sinister plans. Kiss's preferred method of murder was strangulation. He would overpower his victims, wrapping his hands or a ligature around their throats and squeezing until they drew their final breath. The act of strangulation allowed Kiss to experience a perverse sense of power and control over his victims, watching the life drain from their eyes as he tightened his grip. But the horrors didn't end with the act of murder. In a macabre twist that would later shock investigators, Kiss had a grotesque method of disposing of his victims' bodies. After killing them, he would drain their blood and preserve their corpses in large metal drums filled with alcohol. This preservation technique allowed him to keep his victims' bodies for extended periods, creating a ghastly collection that would eventually lead to his undoing. Kiss's crimes went undetected for years, partly due to his careful planning and partly due to the outbreak of World War I, which diverted attention and resources away from domestic concerns. It wasn't until 1916 that his heinous acts came to light, revealing a scale of horror that stunned the nation. The discovery came about when Kiss was conscripted into the Austro-Hungarian army at the onset of World War I. As he left for military service, he asked his landlord to watch over his house and the mysterious metal drums he claimed contained valuable liquor. However, as the war dragged on and a shortage of metal for the war effort arose, authorities decided to requisition the drums from Kiss's property. On July 13, 1916, military police arrived at Kiss's house in Cinkota to collect the drums. What they found inside would reveal the true nature of Bela Kiss and the extent of his crimes. Upon opening the first drum, instead of the expected liquor, they were confronted with a horrifying sight of a preserved female corpse. As investigators delved deeper, they discovered a total of 24 bodies, each meticulously preserved in its own metal drum. The victims were primarily young women, although one male body was also found among the gruesome collection. The preservation method had kept the bodies in a remarkably well-preserved state, allowing for detailed examinations that would shed light on Kiss's methods and the identities of his victims. Forensic analysis revealed that most of the victims had been strangled, bearing the telltale marks of ligatures around their necks. The bodies showed no signs of sexual assault, suggesting that Kiss's motives were rooted more in a desire for control and possession rather than sexual gratification. As the investigation progressed, authorities uncovered more details about Kiss's methods for luring his victims. They found a vast collection of correspondence from women responding to his personal advertisements. These letters, filled with hope and anticipation, now served as a chilling testament to the trust Kiss had betrayed. Among the victims identified were two local women who had been reported missing years earlier. Their disappearances, once a mystery, now found a tragic resolution in Kiss's house of horrors. The other victims were believed to be women from Budapest and other parts of Hungary who had traveled to Cinkota in search of companionship or marriage, only to meet a gruesome fate at the hands of the seemingly charming widower. The investigation also revealed that Kiss had been swindling his victims, convincing them to transfer their savings to him before he murdered them. This financial motive added another layer to the complex profile of the killer, suggesting that his crimes were driven by a combination of psychological compulsion and calculated greed. As news of the discoveries spread, the hunt for Bela Kiss began in earnest. However, the killer had vanished, having been conscripted into the army. At the outbreak of the war, military records showed that Kiss had been wounded in combat and sent to a hospital in Serbia, but from there, the trail went cold. The search for Kiss would become one of the most extensive manhunts in European history. Reported sightings came in from across Europe and even as far as the United States, but none could be conclusively verified. Some reports claimed he had assumed a new identity and started a new life, while others suggested he had died in the war or by suicide to avoid capture. One of the most tantalizing leads came in 1932, when a New York City detective claimed to have spotted Kiss coming out of a subway station. However, by the time backup arrived, the man had disappeared into the crowds, leaving yet another dead end in the search for the Cinkota killer. The case of Bela Kiss remains one of the most infamous unsolved serial killer cases in history. His ability to evade justice, coupled with the horrific nature of his crimes, has ensured that his name continues to evoke terror and fascination more than a century later. The legacy of Bela Kiss's crimes extends beyond the immediate horror of his actions. His case highlighted the vulnerabilities of lonely individuals seeking companionship and the dangers that could lurk behind seemingly innocuous personal advertisements. It also underscored the challenges of international law enforcement in an era of increasing mobility, where a killer could potentially escape justice by crossing borders or assuming new identities. Moreover, the preservation of his victims' bodies in alcohol-filled drums has become an enduring and gruesome detail in the annals of true crime history. This macabre method of corpse storage speaks to a level of planning and a desire for possession that sets Kiss apart from many other serial killers of his time. As the years have passed, the mystery surrounding Bela Kiss has only deepened. The lack of closure in his case has led to numerous theories and speculations about his fate. Some believe he managed to start a new life under an assumed identity, living out his days unpunished for his crimes. Others argue that he must have died during the war or shortly after, his true identity never discovered. Regardless of his ultimate fate, the story of Bela Kiss serves as a dark chapter in criminal history, a reminder of the capacity for evil that can hide behind a facade of normalcy, and the enduring mystery that some killers manage to leave in their wake. If you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. Please remember to like the video, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.